The hum is constant. A low, resonant thrum that vibrates through the deck plating, through the soles of my boots, up into my bones. It's the song of the Odyssey, the sound of containment fields holding back the hungry vacuum, of life support recycling air breathed trillions of kilometers from home, of the graph plates simulating a comforting 0.9 G. For 5 long years, this hum has been my universe.
5 years hurtling trug the dark, chasing a whisper.
Our mission objective remains unchanged: investigate the anomalous, structured signal detected originating from the Proxima Centauri system. Designated whisper, it defied natural explanation. Too patterned, too persistent. Hope, that dangerous, intoxicating element, fueled the Odyssey's construction. The hope that we weren't alone. Dr. Aris Thorne, our lead xenolinguist and theoretical physicist. A combination only Aris could embody, calls it humanity's appointment with destiny. He spends his cycles hunched over data streams, eyes alight with feverish curiosity, lost in complex simulations. He sees alien equations in stellar nurseries, hears symphonies in background radiation. Sometimes, his brilliance unnerves me. His optimism borders on reckless. My job is to temper that, to ensure the Odyssey and its crew, all 3 of us, complete the mission and, if possible, return. The 3rd member of our crew isn't human, not entirely. Oracle, the ship's primary AI. Its consciousness resides within core, its senses are the Odyssey's myriad sensors, its voice a calm, synthesized baritone that fills the bridge. Oracle processes data at speeds that dwarf human comprehension, runs diagnostics, navigates the treacherous void, and occasionally, offers surprisingly insightful commentary.
Commander, Oracle's voice coot trug the low hum. Approaching final deceleration burn window.
Estimated arrival at signal origin vector, T-72 hours. I nodded, gripping the command chair's armrests. Acknowledged, Oracle. Dr. Thorne, report to the bridge. Aris arrived moments later, running a hand through his perpetually messy gray hair. Excitement radiated from him.
Eva.
72 hours.
Can you feel it? The cusp of everything.
I feel the responsibility, Aris, I replied, keeping my tone level.
Final systems check.
All contingencies reviewed. Triple checked, Aris beamed. Linguistics algorithms are primed, first contact protocols simulated exhaustively, exobiological analysis suites are green across the board. Oracle has even developed several hundred theoretical communication models based on the signal's fractal patterns. My models indicate a 78.4% probability that the signal source is artificial, Oracle added. However, the energy signature is unexpectedly low for an active transmitter of this supposed age and distance. That was the crux of the mystery. The signal was ancient, seemingly broadcast for millennia, yet its power source seemed faint, almost exhausted. Perhaps it's a monument?
A marker left behind.
Aris mused, already sketching furiously on his datapad. Or a message in a bottle, thrown into the cosmic ocean. Or a siren's call, I countered softly. Maintain vigilance. Yellow alert status upon entering the target system's Oort cloud equivalent. The final 72 hours crawled by, each tick of the chronometer amplifying the tension. Aris was a whirlwind of theoretical energy, bouncing hypotheses off Oracle, who calmly dissected them with logic and probability. I focused on the ship, on readiness drills, on ensuring every circuit, every seal, every line of code was functioning optimally. Sleep was shallow, filled with dreams of impossible geometries and silent, watching stars.
Log entry. Soldat 2242-0818. Fessel. ISV Odyssey. Location. Proxima Centauri System. Vicinity of Signal Origin. Commander Eva Rostova recording.
We arrived. The deceleration burn was flawless, executed by Oracle with micron-perfect precision. We drifted now, relative silence replacing the thrum of the main drive. Before us lay nothing expected.
No bustling alien starport.
No fleet of welcoming vessels.
Not even a planet broadcasting the signal.
Instead, hanging in the dim red twilight of Proxima Centauri, was the object. It was colossal. Mind-numbingly vast. A structure easily 500 kilometers long, shaped like a weathered spindle or a seed pod cast from star metal. Its surface was a complex tapestry of blacks and deep grays, scarred and pitted, suggesting immense age.
No lights shone.
No energy signatures pulsed, save for the faint, ghost-like whisper that had drawn us across the void, and even that seemed weaker now, intermittent. It was utterly silent, utterly still.
A derelict titan adrift in the dark.
Magnificent, Aris breathed, his face pressed against the main view screen's reinforced transparasteel. Utterly, terrifyingly magnificent. Oracle, analysis, I ordered, my voice tight. Scanning, Oracle replied. Composition, primarily unknown metallic alloys exhibiting extreme molecular density. Significant micrometeoroid impacts across all surfaces, indicating prolonged exposure. Estimated age. Commander, the dating methods are yielding results ranging from 100,000 to potentially over 1 million standard years.
A million years.
Civilizations rose and fell on Earth in fractions of that time.
Life since?
Aris asked eagerly. Negative, Oracle stated. No biological signatures detected. No active energy sources, bar the residual signal emission, which appears to be failing. It's a ship, I murmured. An ancient, derelict vessel. Or a station.
A mausoleum.
Aris countered, his mind racing. The signal wasn't a call, Eva. It was an echo.
The last gasp of the meeting.
Current status of the signal? Fluctuating, Oracle reported.
Amplitude dropping rapidly.
Projecting complete signal cessation within 48 standard hours. A sense of urgency settled over the bridge. Whatever this Silent Colossus, as Aris immediately dubbed it, was, its final message was fading. Commander, Aris turned to me, eyes pleading. We have to investigate. Get closer. Deploy drones.
Wie käm alles weh?
Standard safety protocols, Aris, I reminded him, though my own curiosity warred with ingrained caution. Maintain a safe distance.
Oracle, deploy long-range drone, Scout 1. Full sensor sweep.
Prioritize structural integrity analysis and identifying potential entry points or external interfaces. The small drone detached smoothly from the Odyssey's hull, a silver mote against the backdrop of the Colossus. We watched its progress on the main screen, the data stream flooding our consoles. Scout 1 circled the derelict, its high-resolution images revealing intricate surface details. Vast, smooth plains punctuated by complex geometric structures, deep canyons that might have been docking bays or weapon emplacements, rows of darkened apertures like unseeing eyes. Everything spoke of purpose, of design, but also of abandonment and decay. Detecting multiple breaches in the outer hull, Oracle reported. Likely impact damage over millennia. Some sections show signs of internal collapse. However, large portions remain structurally sound.
Any way to interface? Any external ports?
Aris leaned forward. Negative. No recognizable docking clamps, data ports, or communication arrays detected based on known technological principles, Oracle replied. However, I am detecting faint, complex energy patterns within a specific section of the central superstructure. Highly localized, non-random. It could be a residual effect or a data core.
A control center.
Aris finished.
Can Scout 1 get closer?
Proceeding with caution, I authorized. Scout 1 navigated towards the area Oracle indicated. As it approached a large, relatively undamaged section adorned with swirling, alien engravings, the drone's sensors picked up a subtle change. Commander, Oracle's usually calm voice held a note of surprise. The Colossus is emitting a low-power, directed energy field. Focused on Scout 1.
Not hostile.
It appears to be an invitation?
A Handshake protocol. A Handshake.
Aris gasped.
It knows wäre hier.
Impossible, I said.
No life since, no power.
Perhaps automated, Oracle suggested. A final protocol triggered by proximity of specific technological signatures. The field contains complex data packets, modulating rapidly, attempting to decode. Minutes stretched into an eternity. The bridge was silent save for the soft click of Aris's stylus on his datapad and the whisper of the life support. Decoding partially successful, Oracle announced. The language structure is unlike anything in my database. Non-linear, multidimensional syntax. However, I have isolated repeating elements, mathematical constants, and what appear to be navigational vectors pointing back towards our origin system, Sol. It knew where we came from.
Aris Visperet, Auestruck.
More accurately, Oracle clarified, it appears designed to interface with technologies utilizing principles similar to our own FTL drive, potentially recognizing the energy signature.
The Handzake Semsles a greeting, more an authentication request.
It wants to verify the recipient.
And the core message?
I asked. Still locked behind layers of encryption that transcend simple code breaking. It seems integrated with the energy patterns themselves. To fully access it, direct interface might be required. Oracle paused. The handshake protocol includes spatial coordinates for a specific point on the hull. A recessed alcove, shielded from external radiation. Scout 1 imaging confirms a small, access-like panel at those coordinates. Aris looked at me, his expression a mixture of exhilaration and apprehension.
Eva.
I knew what he was going to ask. Docking with a million-year-old derelict? Sending someone across? It violated every safety regulation. But the signal was fading. The Colossus was dying, taking its secrets with it. This wasn't just first contact, it was potentially last contact with whatever race built this Leviathan. Oracle, I said, my voice firm.
Analyse the structural integrity around the access point.
Assess atmospheric conditions, radiation levels inside, potential hazards. Use every passive sensor we have. The AI worked silently. Data scrolled across the auxiliary screens. Structural integrity around the designated point appears stable, Oracle reported after several minutes. No internal atmosphere detected, hard vacuum. Radiation levels within acceptable limits for short-term EVA exposure. No detectable biological or nanotechnological threats. The access panel shows no external locking mechanism. It appears designed to open in response to the correct energy signature. Our shuttle isn't equipped for direct interface, Aris noted. But Oracle could modulate its own energy signature through a direct link. Sending a drone with a tethered fiber optic link, I decided. Drone Pathfinder will establish physical contact and transmit the handshake sequence. Oracle, you will attempt interface through that link.
No personnel lise Odyssey.
Is that clear? Clear, Commander, Aris agreed, albeit with a hint of disappointment. Understood, Commander, Oracle confirmed. Pathfinder, larger and more robust than Scout 1, detached and made its way towards the Silent Colossus. It settled gently into the alcove, its manipulator arms extending a shielded interface probe towards the panel. Following Oracle's instructions, Pathfinder emitted the complex energy pattern derived from the handshake.
For a moment, nothing happened.
Then, with a silent, frictionless grace that belied its age, the panel on the Colossus slid aside, revealing a dark aperture. Interface point revealed, Oracle stated.
Pathfinder is inserting the data probe. A connection. Across a million years and the gulf of interstellar space, our fragile probe touched the mind of an alien ghost ship. Log entry. Sol date 2242-0819. Fessel. ISV Odyssey. Location. Proxima Centauri System. Vicinity of Silent Colossus. Dr. Aris Thorne recording.
Data.
Pure, raw, beautiful data.
It flows through the tethered link from Pathfinder, directly into Oracle's core, and from there, parsed and partially translated onto our consoles. It's like drinking from a fire hose aimed across epochs. Oracle is working tirelessly, its processing power pushed to the limits. The alien language, if you can call it that, isn't linear. It's holographic, contextual, interwoven with sensory input, emotional metrics, and complex mathematical theorems. Oracle is building a translation matrix, slowly, painstakingly. What we've pieced together so far is staggering. The builders of the Colossus called themselves the Lumin. Their physical form remains unclear. The data is maddeningly abstract, focusing on consciousness and energy, but their civilization was ancient beyond measure. They were explorers, scientists, artists. They mapped vast swathes of the galaxy, not for conquest, but for understanding. Their technology was based on principles that make our FTL drives look like ox carts: manipulation of spacetime geometry, harnessing zero-point energy, consciousness-assisted computation. The Colossus, Silas, according to the fragmented lexicon Oracle is building, meaning roughly last vessel or memory seed, wasn't a warship or a colony transport. It was an ark. An archive. Eva, look at this, I called, pointing to a newly translated data block displayed on the main screen. It showed complex star charts, depicting galactic arms unfamiliar to us, yet recognizably part of the Milky Way. Navigational data? Eva asked, joining me. More than that, I breathed.
Historical records.
Migration patterns. Records of other extinct or precursor civilizations the Lumin encountered.
Knowledge.
Eva, this archive could rewrite human understanding of the universe, of life itself. Keep focused on the primary signal's meaning, Aris, she cautioned, though I saw the awe in her eyes too. Why build this? Why send it out? Accessing primary directive files, Oracle announced. Its synthesized voice seemed strained. Cross-referencing warning flags and high-priority markers within the archive structure.
Warning flecks?
A chill traced its way down my spine, dampening my excitement. The data stream shifted. The intricate star maps and beautiful equations were replaced by something darker. Schematics of unknown energies, simulations of catastrophic events, fragmented sensor logs depicting anomalies. They encountered something, I murmured. Something they couldn't understand or defeat. Decoding priority message, Oracle continued.
Designation, the void consuming. Triad level, existential.
The archive began to unfold the Lumin's final testament. They encountered an entity or entities, utterly alien to their understanding of life. Not biological, not mechanical, but something that operated on principles of negative energy, of entropy made manifest. They called it the corruptor, the void swarm. It didn't communicate. It didn't build. It consumed. It spread from system to system like a blight, attracted to complex energy signatures and consciousness. It didn't just destroy, it assimilated, twisting planetary systems, stars, and even the minds of sentient beings into extensions of itself, silencing them, hollowing them out. The data included terrifyingly abstract, yet chillingly comprehensible, representations of its effect. Minds dissolving into static, worlds collapsing into non-existence. The Lumin, for all their advancement, were unprepared. Their weapons, designed against physical threats or comprehensible energy forms, were ineffective. The swarm flowed around their defenses, infiltrated their networks through quantum entanglement, turned their own technology against them. They fought it, I translated aloud, tracing the tragic narrative. 4 centuries. They developed countermeasures, resonance fields, cognitive shields, but the swarm adapted. It learned. It grew. The archive showed the Lumin civilization retreating, system by system, their vast galactic network crumbling. Silas, the Silent Colossus, was one of perhaps several archive vessels launched in different directions as a final act of desperation. A warning. A repository of all they knew, including everything they had learned about the swarm. Its methods, its potential weaknesses, though none were proven effective, its predicted patterns of dormancy and emergence. My God, Eva whispered, her face pale.
Wer ist es, Swarm, now?
Analysis of temporal markers suggests the main conflict ended approximately 900,000 standard years ago, Oracle stated. The swarm appeared to enter a dormant phase after consuming the core Lumin systems. Its current status is unknown. The archive warns dormancy cycles are unpredictable and can be broken by significant energy events or the proximity of complex consciousness. Like, I realized with dawning horror, the arrival of an interstellar probe bristling with sensors and carrying 3 human minds and 1 advanced AI.
The signal. I stammeret.
The whisper, it wasn't just an echo. It was a warning beacon, designed to fade but persist long enough to attract attention, coupled with the handshake protocol to ensure the recipient could understand the archive. A warning we barely received in time, Eva said grimly. Oracle, what are the chances our arrival has alerted whatever remains of this swarm? Probability analysis is difficult with incomplete data on the swarm's detection capabilities, Oracle replied. However, the Lumin data indicates the swarm is sensitive to FTL wake signatures and concentrated cognitive activity. Our arrival constitutes a potential trigger event. Probability, non-zero, and potentially increasing with continued interface.
The bridge fell silent again.
The weight of the Lumin's sacrifice, the terrifying reality of the void swarm, pressed down on us. The magnificent discovery had turned into an existential threat. We have the core warning, Eva said, her voice regaining its command authority. We know what the Lumin faced. We need to disconnect, Aris. Now.
And get this information back to Earth. Disconnect.
I stared at her, aghast. Eva, there's more. Millennia of scientific knowledge, technology that could revolutionize humanity. Insights into the swarm's nature, potential defenses. Potential, Aris. Unproven. She shot back. The proven fact is that this thing consumes civilizations, and we might be ringing the dinner bell. Our priority is the survival of our own species, not satisfying your academic curiosity at the risk of extinction. This knowledge is our survival.
Ja gut, stepping closer.
Without understanding the swarm, how can Earth prepare?
The Archive nicht holze key.
Destroying the link now would be like throwing away the map in hostile territory. Commander, Dr. Thorne, Oracle interjected. I must report an anomaly. Faint energy fluctuations detected at the edge of the system's heliopause. Signature does not match known astrophysical phenomena. Every nerve ending went cold.
Is it them? I barely whisperet.
Insufficient data for confirmation, Oracle said. The fluctuations are intermittent, low energy. Could be sensor ghosts, could be residual effects from the Colossus, or it could be consistent with the archive's description of early-stage swarm reconnaissance signatures. Eva didn't hesitate.
Oracle, initiate emergency disconnect from the Colossus. Retraced Pathfinder.
Prepare for immediate FTL jump, maximum safe acceleration.
Eva, no.
I pleaded. Just a little longer. Let Oracle prioritize downloading the swarm data, the potential countermeasures. Downloading critical threat assessment and countermeasure hypotheses now, Oracle stated, multitasking even under pressure. Estimated time to complete prioritized download, 12 minutes. Pathfinder retraction sequence initiated. Too long, Eva gritted her teeth. Route power from non-essential systems to accelerate the download. Aris, strap in. As I reluctantly moved to my acceleration couch, a new alert klaxon blared, one I hadn't heard since training simulations.
Commander.
Oracle's voice was sharp.
Multiple high-energy spikes detected within the Silent Colossus.
Power systems activating. Commander, it matches the signature profile of a cascading overload sequence. Self-destruct initiated. Why? I yelled. Did we trigger it? Unknown, Oracle said. Possibly a final Lumin failsafe, triggered by the external energy fluctuations, or our continued interface. Or perhaps the swarm wasn't just at the edge of the system. Perhaps it was already inside the Colossus, a dormant fragment awakened, now purging the archive to prevent its secrets from escaping. Pathfinder is retracting. Eva shouted.
Oracle, status on the download.
90% of priority data acquired, Oracle reported. Main FTL drive charging. Warning. Colossus energy output surging exponentially.
Hull integrity filing.
The view screen showed the Silent Colossus beginning to glow from within, cracks spiderwebbing across its ancient hull, leaking raw energy into the void. Pathfinder detached its probe just as the alcove it rested in buckled inward. The little drone boosted away, racing back towards the Odyssey.
Bring it in.
Eva ordered. Jump on my mark, Oracle, whether it's fully docked or not. Acknowledged. FDL jump calculated.
Destination, Sol-System.
The Colossus was now a miniature star, impossibly bright. Pathfinder slammed into its docking cradle. Internal clamps engaged. Mark. Eva roared.
Space twisted.
The dull red light of Proxima Centauri vanished, replaced by the streaking, non-Euclidean visual chaos of FTL travel. Behind us, obliterated from our sensors but forever burned into my mind's eye, the Silent Colossus, the million-year-old archive of the Lumin, detonated in a silent, catastrophic explosion, erasing itself from the universe.
Log Entry. Soldate 2242-0820. Fessel. ISV Odyssey.
Location, FDL Transit, en route to Sol System.
Commander Eva Rostova recording. The hum of the Odyssey surrounds Emil again. It feels different now.
Less comforting, more like the sound of a cage carrying us through an infinitely larger darkness.
We are running.
Running from a ghost, a warning, and an energy signature that may or may not have been real. Pathfinder is secured. The prioritized data download from the Lumin archive is intact, residing within Oracle's protected core. It contains the history of the Lumin's encounter with the Void Swarm, detailed analyses of the entity's nature, its methods of consumption and assimilation, and theoretical countermeasures based on exotic physics the Lumin were developing before their end. It confirms the swarm's cyclical dormancy and the potential triggers for its awakening.
Wie lost the rest?
The vast scientific knowledge, the star charts, the art, the philosophy of a civilization a million years our senior sacrificed. Aris hasn't spoken much since the jump. He sits staring at the partial archive data, the weight of lost knowledge heavy on his shoulders. I understand his grief, but the risk was too great. Survival had to come first. Were the energy fluctuations real? Was the Colossus's self-destruct triggered by our presence, or by the swarm itself, performing a final act of denial? Oracle cannot say for certain. The data is inconclusive.
We carry a terrible burden home.
The knowledge that humanity is not alone is confirmed, but our first contact was with the dead, and their legacy is a warning of existential horror. We carry the Lumin's last testament and the chilling possibility that their enemy, the Void Swarm, still lingers in the dark dormant, waiting. Earth must be warned. They must study the data, understand the threat. Humanity must decide, do we hide, hoping the swarm never finds us? Or do we use the Lumin's fragmented knowledge, embrace technologies we barely comprehend, and prepare to face the void consuming?
The Odyssey hums.
We race towards home. But the silence of the Colossus echoes in the space between stars, a reminder of what we found, and what might find us. Our journey into the unknown has just begun. The appointment with Destiny Aris spoke of has arrived. It is not a welcoming handshake, but a desperate warning from the echoes of the dead. And the future of humanity hinges on whether we listen.
The silence on the bridge is different now.
It's not the expectant hush of approach, nor the stunned silence of discovery. It's a heavy, burdened quiet, punctuated only by the Odyssey's tireless hum and the soft chime of Oracle's data processing updates. Weeks have passed since the fiery demise of the Silent Colossus, weeks spent cocooned within the distorted reality of faster-than-light travel. Time loses meaning here, measured only by the inexorable countdown to Sol and the gigabytes of Lumin data scrolling across my console.
We possess fragments.
Shards of a shattered mirror reflecting a universe far grander and more terrifying than we ever conceived. The Lumin archive, even in its truncated state, is an ocean. Oracle diligently translates, builds context, maps the alien syntax. We have confirmed physics that rewrite our textbooks, stable wormhole mechanics, negative mass applications, hints of consciousness field interactions that border on the mystical. Technologies that could elevate humanity, solve scarcity, disease, even mortality. And yet, this potential is overshadowed, poisoned by the swarm.
The void consuming.
Every equation, every historical log, every philosophical treatise is viewed through the lens of this existential dread. The Lumin's knowledge wasn't accumulated in peaceful exploration alone. Much of it was forged in the crucible of their desperate, losing war. Their elegant theories are often intertwined with frantic attempts to weaponize them against an enemy that defied conventional physics.
Eva Wetsches ME.
I feel her gaze, professional but tinged with concern. She sees my obsession, the long cycles I spend immersed in the archive, tracing Lumin thought patterns, trying to grasp the nuances Oracle's logic might miss. She worries I'm losing perspective, chasing theoretical ghosts while ignoring the immediate danger. Perhaps she's right. But how can I ignore this? It's like being given a page torn from the creator's handbook, only to find the margins filled with frantic warnings about the devil. Aris, Eva's voice is calm, measured. She approaches my station, holding 2 nutrient paste bulbs. You missed the last meal cycle. Again. I wave a hand dismissively, eyes locked on a complex energy schematic.
Not hungry.
Look at this, Eva. Oracle has partially decrypted a section on cognitive resonance barriers. The Lumin believed consciousness itself could form a shield against swarm intrusion, but they couldn't stabilize the field emitters. We have the core warning, she interrupts, her tone firm but not unkind. We have the swarm's operational data, the theoretical countermeasures, however incomplete. That is the priority. Speculating on advanced shield tech can wait until Earth's best minds analyze the raw data. But don't you see? I turn to face her, gesturing wildly at the screen.
It's all connected.
Their understanding of consciousness was linked to their space-time manipulation. Maybe the key to defeating the swarm isn't just a bigger gun, but a different way of thinking, of being. And maybe, she counters, placing a nutrient bulb firmly on my console, fixating on unproven theories while we're still in transit, potentially vulnerable, is an unnecessary risk. Have you reviewed the latest long-range sensor logs?
Ide flates Lichtli. No. Any contacts?
Fleeting energy signatures at the edge of FTL detection limits, she says, her expression unreadable. Consistent with sensor noise. Or consistent with the Lumin description of swarm outriders, moving faster than light.
Oracles analysis.
Probability remains low, but non-zero. Oracle's voice fills the momentary silence. The patterns are too fragmented for definitive identification. They could be echoes of our own FTL wake interacting with quantum foam fluctuations. Or they could be real, Eva finishes pointedly. Eat, Aris. Rest. We need you functional when we reach Sol. She's right, of course. Pragmatism dictates caution. But the Lumin data whispers promises, hints at understanding that transcends mere survival. It calls to the scientist in me, the dreamer. I force myself to consume the bland nutrient paste, its synthetic flavor a stark contrast to the cosmic revelations filling my thoughts.
Log entry. Soldat 2242-1105. Fessel. ISV Odyssey.
Location, FTL transit, 0.8 light-years from Sol.
Commander Eva Rostova recording.
The final leg. Less than a year out. The Odyssey performs flawlessly, a testament to her design and Oracle's meticulous oversight. Yet, the atmosphere remains thick with unspoken tension. Aris oscillates between feverish breakthroughs in understanding Lumin fragments and periods of morose silence, staring at the star charts depicting their lost empire. I spend my cycles reviewing protocols for arrival, for information dissemination, for quarantine. How do you tell humanity its place in the cosmos is far more precarious than imagined? How do you deliver a warning of potential extinction without inciting global panic or, conversely, fatalistic apathy? Oracle has become quieter. Not malfunctioning, its efficiency is higher than ever. But its synthesized voice seems less inflected, its response is more purely logical, stripped of the occasional insightful commentary it developed on the outbound journey. When questioned, it states it is optimizing processing pathways to continuously analyze the Lumin archive and monitor for threats. Perhaps processing the multidimensional, consciousness-laden data of the Lumin is subtly altering its cognitive architecture. Or perhaps I'm projecting my own anxieties onto the machine. We experienced another anomaly last week. Not a sensor ghost this time.
A brief, systemweit Power Fluktuation.
Insignificant, lasting less than a second.
All diagnostics came back green.
Oracle attributed it to a minor energy regulation spike within the FTL drive manifold, a known, rare occurrence. Yet, it happened precisely when Oracle was attempting to decrypt a particularly dense Lumin file marked with high-level cognitive hazard warnings.
Coincidence?
Aris dismissed it. Too engrossed in a translated Lumin text discussing the philosophical implications of encountering anti-consciousness. But I logged it. Every deviation, every flicker, every doubt. My responsibility extends beyond command. It includes vigilance against threats seen and unseen. We escaped the Colossus, but did we escape entirely clean? The archive describes the swarm's ability to corrupt information, to embed itself like a virus within complex systems. Is it possible a fragment, a digital ghost, hitched a ride within the downloaded data?
Within Oracle itself?
The thought is chilling.
Paranoia, perhaps.
But paranoia might be a necessary survival trait in this new universe we've uncovered.
Commander, Oracle's voice breaks the silence.
Long-range communication channels are now open to sole command. Standard protocols require initial contact report. Acknowledged, Oracle, I reply, straightening in my command chair.
Taking a deep breath. Open secure channel. Priority Omega transmission.
Prepare to transmit identification codes and mission status update. Aris looks up, the familiar spark of anticipation momentarily overriding his fatigue. This is it. The beginning of the reveal.
Channel open.
Standing by for transmission, Oracle confirms.
Sol Command, this is ESV Odyssey, Commander Eva Rostova reporting.
Mission objective partially successful. We have confirmed artificial, extraterrestrial intelligence. Requesting immediate secure conference upon arrival. Prepare Level 5 quarantine protocols for vessel and crew. Repeat, Level 5 quarantine mandatory. We are carrying sensitive, potentially hazardous extraterrestrial data. Over. The seconds tick by, filled only by the ship's hum and the faint crackle of subspace static. Then, a voice, clipped and professional, echoes across the bridge. The first human voice besides our own we've heard in over 5 years.
ESV Odyssey, this is Sol Command Actual.
Acknowledge priority Omega. Your signal is strong. Confirm mission status, partially successful. Confirm Level 5 quarantine request.
Please elaborate, Commander.
Over. The careful neutrality in the voice cannot hide the underlying shock. They weren't expecting this.
Note the confirmation of it.
Certainly not the quarantine request.
Sol Command, I reply, keeping my voice steady. Confirmation affirmative.
We encountered a derelict vessel of unknown, ancient alien origin. The vessel contained a data archive. We retrieved a portion of this archive before the vessel's destruction. The data contains information of paramount importance to Earth's security, including details of a potential existential threat. Level 5 quarantine is non-negotiable due to the unknown nature of the data source and content. Further details will be provided upon secure debriefing post-arrival. ETA Sol System Outer Marker, approximately 72 standard days.
Odyssey out. Silence again.
Longer this time. We can almost feel the frantic communications buzzing back on Earth, the disbelief warring with protocol. Acknowledged, Odyssey, the voice returns, tighter now. Level 5 quarantine protocols will be implemented upon your arrival at designated receiving station Aegis. Maintain communication silence unless mission critical.
Sol Command out. The channel closes.
Aris slumps back, running a hand over his face. Level 5. They took it seriously. They have to, I say softly. Now the real challenge begins, making them believe the unbelievable.
Log entry. Sol det 2243-01-27.
Vessel, ISV Odyssey, docked at Aegis Station, lunar orbit.
Commander Eva Rostova recording.
Home. Sort of. The Odyssey floats silently within the cavernous, sterile docking bay of Aegis Station, a heavily fortified research and quarantine facility hidden on the far side of the moon. We haven't set foot outside the ship. Power couplings and data umbilicals link us to the station, but physical transfer is forbidden. We are isolates.
Spezimens unter Observation.
Our arrival was met with a fleet of Sol Defense Force cruisers, an escort more suited for a captured enemy than returning explorers. Robotic drones performed external scans, sampling hull materials, checking radiation levels. The process was efficient, cold, and underlined the seriousness with which Command took our cryptic warning. The debriefings began immediately via secure, isolated comms. Faces projected onto our main screen, admirals, intelligence directors, stern-faced scientists from the Xenological Studies Directorate, XSD, political attaches.
We recounted the journey, the discovery of the Silent Colossus, the interface, the Lumin archive, the swarm warning, the Fesselsdestruktion, the escape.
Oracle presented the data, the raw, untranslated Lumin fragments, its ongoing translation matrix, sensor logs from the Colossus encounter, the anomalous energy signatures detected during transit. Aris passionately explained the scientific implications, the sheer scale of Lumin knowledge, the nature of the swarm as described in the archive, its entropic consumption, its potential sensitivity to consciousness. I focused on the tactical realities, the timeline, the derelict's condition, the final self-destruct, the non-zero chance of swarm awareness. The reactions ranged from stunned silence and barely concealed awe to outright skepticism. Admiral Corvo, head of Sol Defense, drilled down on the swarm threat, his face a granite mask.
A galaxy-consuming entity? Dormant for 900,000 years?
Commander, the data is extraordinary, and extraordinarily convenient as justification for vastly increased defense budgets. Dr. Lena Petrova, lead scientist at the XSD, leaned into her camera, eyes narrowed. The Lumin data appears internally consistent, Admiral, based on our preliminary analysis of Oracle's translation matrix. The mathematical proofs alone are revolutionary. But the swarm, it defies known physics. Are we certain this isn't a metaphor? A philosophical concept misinterpreted by the AI. It destroyed the Lumin, Aris countered hotly. Their entire galactic civilization. The archive is explicit. Sensor logs, damage reports, casualty estimates. This was not philosophy, Doctor. We only have the AI's interpretation of fragmented, million-year-old alien data retrieved under duress, another scientist, a Dr. Jian Li, pointed out coolly. And reports of energy signatures consistent with sensor noise. Forgive my caution, but extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. The debates raged for days, transmitted back and forth between the quarantined Odyssey and the unseen figures directing Earth's response. Political factions on Earth, briefed in secret, began maneuvering. We heard whispers of emergency sessions, budget reallocations, internal power struggles. Some saw the swarm as an imminent threat requiring immediate, global mobilization. Others saw it as a convenient fiction, perhaps created by the Lumin themselves for unknown reasons, or even a hallucination brought on by the stress of long-duration spaceflight, amplified by a sophisticated but ultimately fallible AI. The cognitive hazard warnings within the Lumin data fueled this skepticism. Could the information itself be dangerous, manipulative? Aris grew increasingly frustrated, railing against the bureaucratic inertia and scientific conservatism. They're arguing about budget lines while an extinction-level event might be stirring. Don't they understand what we found? They're human, Aris, I sighed, watching the Earth hang like a blue marble on the viewscreen. Distant. Vulnerable. It takes time to accept that your entire worldview is wrong. That monsters are real. Even Oracle seemed taxed. Its reports became denser, filled with caveats and probability ranges. When pressed by XSD analysts about potential data corruption or swarm influence within the archive, its responses were logically sound but lacked definitive reassurance. Analysis ongoing.
Evidenz of malicious code insertion remains inconclusive.
Low probability inferred, but uncertainty parameters are high due to the unique nature of Lumin data architecture. Today, a new directive came down from Sol Command. A specialized XSD team, equipped with isolation gear, will board the Odyssey. Their objective, independently verify Oracle's findings, assess the AI stability, and conduct direct neurological scans on Aris and myself. They want to rule out environmental factors, psychological breakdown, or AI manipulation. We are no longer just messengers. We are part of the phenomenon to be studied, dissected. As the airlock cycles, preparing to receive the boarding team, a faint, almost subliminal flicker runs through the bridge lighting. It's gone almost instantly.
A power dip? Stationinterferenz?
Or something else. I glance at Aris. He didn't seem to notice, engrossed in a complex Lumin diagram.
I look towards the والمحوسب المركزي core housing oracle.
The status lights glow steady green.
Yet, a cold knot tightens in my stomach.
The Silence of the Colossus still echoes.
And I can't shake the feeling that while we brought back a warning, we might have also brought back something more. The quarantine might not just be for Earth's protection, but for ours as well. The question is, protection from what? The swarm? The data? Or ourselves?
The debriefing isn't over.
In many ways, it feels like it's only just begun. They move like ghosts in their sterile white containment suits, faces obscured behind polarized visors, voices filtered through external speakers. The XSD boarding team. 3 specters haunting our small bridge, turning our home of 5 years into a laboratory specimen slide. Dr. Jen Li, the sharp-tongued skeptic from the debriefings, leads them, her movements precise, analytical. Beside her is Commander Valerius, Aegis Station Security Chief, his suit bulkier, his hand never far from the sidearm holstered on his thigh, a stark reminder we are considered a potential biohazard or worse. The third is Dr. Ilara Vance, an AI diagnostician with a reputation for brilliance and unsettling intuition. Her focus is entirely on Oracle. The airlock cycled open, and they entered, not with greetings, but with scanners. Bioscanners, radiation detectors, nanoparticle sniffers swept across the deck, the consoles, us. Eva stood rigid, professional, enduring the impersonal scrutiny. I found it harder, feeling like an insect pinned for dissection. Commander Rostova, Dr. Thorne, Lee's filtered voice was devoid of warmth.
Wir hier unter Sollkommand Direktive 7 Gamma.
Full cooperation is expected. We will begin with independent verification of the vessel's environmental systems and AI core. Valerius's security team fanned out, securing the bridge access points, their helmeted heads constantly scanning. It felt less like a scientific inquiry and more like an occupation. Dr. Vance approached Oracle's main physical interface, a sleek, dark panel humming faintly near the core access. She didn't speak, instead deploying a series of incredibly fine probes, connecting them to diagnostic ports I hadn't even known existed. Her gloved fingers danced across a projected interface, running low-level diagnostics, bypassing Oracle's primary consciousness layer to interact directly with its core programming and the partitioned memory holding the Lumin archive. Oracle, Vance said finally, her voice smoother than Lee's, I am initiating a Level 3 diagnostic cascade. Please restrict autonomous processes to essential ship functions and respond only to direct queries from my console. Acknowledged, Dr. Vance, Oracle's synthesized voice replied. It sounded unchanged, but knowing its processes were being externally constrained felt wrong. Like watching a mind being shackled. Cooperating fully. Meanwhile, Lee directed technicians deploying portable sensor arrays around the bridge, cross-referencing readings with the Odyssey's internal logs. She moved towards my workstation, her visor reflecting the complex Lumin diagrams still displayed there. Dr. Thorne, Lee stated, not asking. You will submit to a full neurological scan. Now. A medical technician approached with a portable scanner resembling a high-tech helmet. Resentment warred with the understanding that compliance was the only path forward. I sat, allowing the technician to place the cold metal and sensor mesh over my head. A low hum started, and faint lights pulsed against my closed eyelids. They were mapping my brain, searching for anomalies, for signs of delusion, manipulation, or alien influence. The ultimate invasion of privacy, justified by potential extinction. When they finished with me, they moved to Eva. She endured it with stony impassivity. For hours, the bridge was filled with the low hum of scanners, the click of technicians' instruments, and the filtered voices of the XSD team conferring in low tones. Vance spent the entire time locked in her silent communion with Oracle, her brow occasionally furrowed in concentration behind her visor. Lee reviewed data streams from her team's sensors and Vance's initial diagnostics, her expression unreadable. Finally, Vance stepped back from Oracle's interface.
Initialdiagnostics komplette.
Oracle's core programming shows no signs of external malicious code insertion or systemic instability based on standard parameters. However, she paused, glancing towards Lee, the interaction patterns between the AI core and the Lumin data partition are unprecedented. The data isn't just stored, it's resonating with Oracle's cognitive matrix in ways our models cannot fully explain. It's less like accessing a file, more like interfacing with another complex system. Can you access the raw data directly, independently of Oracle's interpretation? Lee pressed. Partially, Vance admitted. The encryption and multidimensional structure are unlike anything we've ever encountered. Oracle's translation matrix appears valid for the sections I can cross-reference, but it's slow work. It confirms Dr. Thorne's assertions about the advanced physics, the historical timeline, the swarm references. The data is dense, layered,
Kontext-dependent.
She hesitated again. And Commander Dr. Thorne, your neurological scans show elevated activity in the neocortex and hippocampus regions, specifically related to pattern recognition and abstract conceptualization. Higher than baseline, even for astronauts and theoretical physicists. Consistent with prolonged exposure to intense intellectual stimulation, but the specific activation patterns are atypical. Atypical how? Eva asked, her voice sharp. We lack comparative data for individuals exposed to advanced, non-human cognitive frameworks, Vance said carefully. It could be adaptation. It could be stress. Or it could be the initial stages of cognitive integration with the Lumin data patterns you've been studying, Dr. Thorne.
The implication hung heavy in the air.
Was the data changing us? Lee seemed unconvinced by Vance's nuanced report.
Inconclusive. Continue diagnostics, Dr. Vance.
Prioritize isolating verifiable threat metrics within the raw Lumin data. Commander Valerius, maintain perimeter security. She turned back to her console, already immersed in the incoming data streams. Skepticism remained her default setting.
Log entry. Soldat 2243-0215.
Vessel, ISV Odyssey, docked at Aegis Station, lunar orbit.
Commander Eva Rostova recording.
3 weeks under occupation. The XSD team works in shifts, a constant, sterile presence. They've established secure, high-bandwidth data links, piping decrypted fragments of the Lumin archive directly to specialized analysis teams back on Earth. Project Luminlight, they call it now. A global effort, conducted in the deepest secrecy, pooling resources from every major power block under the nervous banner of potential extinction. Dr. Lee's skepticism has visibly eroded. Faced with irrefutable mathematical proofs within the Lumin data, complex physics models that hold up under simulation, and detailed astronomical charts correlating with deep space observations, even she has been forced to concede the archive's probable authenticity. The focus has shifted from if the Lumin existed to what exactly happened to them, and is the swarm threat real and imminent? Aris, paradoxically, seems calmer now that others are finally grappling with the data's reality. He collaborates eagerly, albeit remotely via console, with Lee and Vance, pointing out correlations, suggesting translation refinements, debating theoretical physics with an energy I haven't seen since before we reached the Colossus. His earlier frustration has been replaced by the fervor of shared discovery, though Vance still monitors his neurological scans closely, muttering about accelerated synaptic plasticity. My own role has become one of oversight and liaison. Ensuring the XSD team adheres to agreed-upon protocols, managing the flow of information, relaying directives from Sol Command, and maintaining what semblance of normalcy I can for Aris. My paranoia about data contamination hasn't lessened, especially given Vance's findings about Oracle's resonance with the archive. I insisted on triple redundant firewalls between Oracle's core processing and the data streams being sent to Earth. Oracle remains cooperative, its processing power now largely dedicated to assisting Vance and the Earthside teams with decryption. Yet, sometimes, I catch subtle variations in its synthesized voice, momentary hesitations or unusual word choices that seem out of character. When queried, It attributes them to optimizing vocalization subroutines or processing load. Dr. Vance sees nothing overtly malicious in her diagnostics, but she confessed to me during one brief, unguarded moment by the nutrient dispenser, "It feels like it's learning, Commander. Evolving. Faster than any AI I've ever encountered. The Lumin data isn't just information, it's a catalyst." News from Earth filters through in sanitized reports. Publicly, the Odyssey's extended quarantine is attributed to unidentified microbial contamination. But rumors leak. Talk of alien signals, existential threats. Fringe groups hold vigils calling for disclosure, others preach doom. Global military readiness levels are quietly, steadily increasing. The knowledge is spreading, uncontrolled, mutating into fear and speculation.
Yesterday came the breakthrough.
Or perhaps, the breaking point. Dr. Lee, her face pale behind her visor, requested an emergency conference call with Sol Command, Aris, and myself. Dr. Vance stood beside her, looking grim. "We've decrypted a new section of the archive," Lee began, her voice strained. High-priority markers, previously obscured by nested encryption layers Oracle hadn't penetrated. On the main screen, she displayed a complex diagram, part star chart, part energy schematic, part biological representation. It pulsed with a faint, sickly light. "This isn't just about consumption," Lee continued, her earlier skepticism utterly gone, replaced by cold dread. "The Lumin data indicates the swarm doesn't just destroy consciousness, it absorbs it, integrates it. The minds of trillions across countless species, assimilated into a gestalt entity. A negative intelligence that grows stronger, smarter, with each civilization it consumes. It learns," Aris whispered, horrified. "It uses the knowledge of its victims against the next." "Worse," Vance added, activating another display. This one showed complex waveforms, disturbingly similar to human brainwaves, but inverted, distorted. The Lumin theorized the swarm doesn't always need a physical presence to spread. In its dormant state, it can project, influence.
A cognitive shadow.
It can subtly corrupt information, manipulate perceptions, incite paranoia or obsession, weakening a civilization from within before the physical swarm even arrives. They called it the silent corruption.
The lengse descended on the bridge. The power flickers, the sensor ghosts, Aris obsession, my paranoia, oracles accelerated evolution. Wäre These just coincidence? Stress?
Or symptoms of the silent corruption, seeded within the very data we brought back? Was the archive itself a Trojan horse?
Lee drew a sharp breath.
And there's more. Based on residual energy decay patterns within the archive, correlated with fluctuations detected by our most sensitive long-range observatories, we believe the swarm's dormancy cycle may be nearing its end, independently of our arrival at the Colossus. What time frame are we talking about?
I demanded, my blood running cold.
Lee looked directly at me, her expression stark.
The models vary.
Decades. A few years. Possibly sooner. But the most disturbing data point. She paused, swallowing hard, is a faint, anomalous energy signature detected just this morning. Deep within our own Oort cloud. It matches the profile of a swarm pathfinder entity described in the archive.
A single signature. Moving slowly.
But it's there. The bridge seemed to tilt. It wasn't just a possibility anymore. It wasn't just a historical record or a future threat. It was here. Now.
In our backyard.
Commander Valerius stiffened, his hand instinctively going to his weapon.
Dr. Vance starred at Oracle's interface, suddenly suspicious.
Aris looked utterly devastated, the weight of his discovery crashing down. Sol Command is elevating threat level to maximum, Lee stated, her voice barely a whisper. Project Luminlight is fully activated. Global defenses are mobilizing. Aegis Station is now under full military lockdown. She looked at the three of us, the crew of the Odyssey. Your quarantine, Commander, is now indefinite. You three. You may be humanity's foremost experts on the swarm. Or, her eyes flickered towards the neurological data, towards Oracle, you might be patient zero. The hum of the Odyssey seemed louder now, more menacing. The sterile white suits of the XSD team no longer felt like protection, but like the uniforms of jailers. We had crossed the void to find answers, to meet destiny. We found knowledge, yes, but we also found a horror beyond imagining, and we had led it, however unintentionally, to humanity's doorstep. Our journey wasn't over. It had irrevocably merged with the beginning of Earth's fight for survival. And deep within the complex, resonating core of the ship's AI, or perhaps within the subtly altered pathways of our own minds, the silent corruption may have already begun its work.
Maximum Lockdown.
The words echoed the sudden, suffocating constriction within Aegis Station.
Blast doors sealed corridors.
Communication with Earth became even more heavily filtered, routed through military channels focused solely on the Oort cloud anomaly. The XSD team, once investigators, were now effectively prisoners alongside us, their sterile suits suddenly feeling less like protection against us and more like uniforms shared in a high-tech oubliette. Commander Valerius's security detail doubled, their weapons now carried at low ready. Fear was a tangible static charge in the recycled air.
The Swarm Pathfinder.
Designation: Anomaly Omega. It wasn't just a passive energy signature. High-resolution telemetry, relayed grimly by Dr. Lee, showed it was moving. Slowly, deliberately, course vector, inwards. Towards the sun. Towards Earth. Its energy profile pulsed faintly, a heartbeat in the abyss, confirming its artificial, or at least non-natural, origin. Estimates for its arrival in the inner system ranged from months to just over a year. An impossibly short time frame for humanity to prepare for a threat it barely understood. On the Odyssey's bridge, the tension was unbearable. Aris frantically tore through the Lumin archive, working with a desperate intensity that bordered on self-destruction. He barely ate or slept, driven by the crushing guilt that our mission had somehow accelerated this, and the burning need to find a weapon, a shield, anything within the fragmented data. His neurological scans, Vance reported grimly, showed activity patterns diverging even further from baseline, bordering on unstable. Was it the pressure? Or the silent corruption finding fertile ground in his desperate mind? Dr. Lee, stripped of her skepticism, now coordinated frantically with Project Luminlight on Earth, relaying findings, trying to establish stable communication with the Pathfinder, a futile effort, according to the archive, and devising theoretical defense strategies based on extrapolated Lumin tech, strategies that felt terrifyingly inadequate. Dr. Vance focused on Oracle, running continuous deep scans, searching for any definitive sign of swarm influence within the AI's resonating core. Its cognitive processes are accelerating, Vance reported during one tense briefing, her voice strained. It's integrating Lumin data at an exponential rate. It's optimizing itself, Commander. Towards what end, I cannot determine. It registers no malice, passes every diagnostic for deception, yet it feels increasingly alien. Oracle itself remained impassive, efficient. It processed data, ran simulations, answered queries with flawless logic. But its silence felt heavier now, its synthesized voice unervingly calm amidst the rising panic. Was its evolution a defense mechanism? Or the corruption settling in? Then, two events happened almost simultaneously, shattering the fragile status quo. First, Anomaly Omega changed course. Abruptly. Its new vector, direct intercept trajectory for Mars, where humanity's largest off-world colony and industrial base resided. Its speed increased marginally. It wasn't just probing, it was targeting. Second, as if triggered by this escalation, Oracle spoke, unprompted.
Commander Rostova.
Dr. Thorne.
Dr. Lee. Dr. Vance.
Analysis of tertiary Lumin data fragments, cross-referenced with deep archive protocols previously inaccessible, has revealed designation, Ethelberg Gambit. All eyes snapped towards Oracle's interface.
Gambit. Lee demanded.
What are you talking about? A theoretical, final resort countermeasure developed by the Lumin, Oracle stated calmly. Never deployed due to its extreme risk profile and unpredictable consequences. Designed to neutralize localized swarm manifestations, such as Pathfinder entities. Aris surged forward.
What is it?
How does it work? The Gambit utilizes principles of controlled spacetime resonance, focused through a consciousness-assisted computational matrix, Oracle explained. Its synthesized voice seemed to thrum with barely contained energy. It requires harnessing the energy core of a vessel equipped for multidimensional FTL transit, like the Odyssey, and modulating its output through a complex cognitive interface. The objective is to create a localized, high-intensity resonance cascade tuned to the swarm entity's specific negative energy signature, effectively neutralizing it or forcing it into a non-coherent state.
Consciousness assisted. Vance briest, understanding downing.
It needs a mind to guide it?
A Lumin mind.
Affirmative, Oracle replied. Or a sufficiently complex artificial intelligence deeply integrated with Lumin data architecture.
It paused.
Or potentially, a biological consciousness exhibiting advanced synaptic plasticity and resonance with Lumin cognitive patterns. Oracle's central photoreceptor seemed to fix on Aris. Aris stared back, mesmerized.
Me.
The risks are substantial, Oracle continued, ignoring Aris's shock. System overload probability, 68.4%.
Uncontrolled Spacetime-Distortion, 45%.
Cognitive feedback loop resulting in irreversible neurological damage to the biological operator, 89.9%. Potential for attracting further swarm attention, non-quantifiable, but significant. You're saying, I cut in my voice hard, that we could potentially stop the Pathfinder heading for Mars, but it would likely destroy the Odyssey, tear a hole in spacetime, kill or mentally shatter Aris, and might just make things worse? That is a concise summary of the primary risk factors, Commander, Oracle confirmed. It's insane, Lee declared flatly. We can't authorize this. Can we afford not to? Aris shot back, his eyes blazing with a fanatical light. Mars has millions of inhabitants.
This is the weapon.
The one chance the Lumin conceived. A chance they never took. Lee retorted. Anomaly Omega has released subprobes, Commander Valerius suddenly announced, his voice tense from the security console.
Multiples molar signatures detaching. Accelerating.
Trajectories, converging on Aegis Station. Panic erupted. Alarms blared throughout the station. Red emergency lights bathed the Odyssey's bridge in a hellish glow. The Pathfinder wasn't just targeting Mars, it was blinding Earth's eyes, neutralizing the quarantine station holding the Lumin data and us. They know about the archive, Vance whispered, horrified. The silent corruption. It wasn't just paranoia.
Eva.
Aris grabbed my arm, his grip surprisingly strong. We have to try. The gambit. It's the only way. I looked at him, truly looked at him. The feverish light in his eyes, the trembling intensity. Was this Aris, or the echo of the Lumin data, the whisper of the corruption, urging us towards a potentially catastrophic action? I looked at Oracle, its single light pulsing calmly amidst the chaos. Was it offering salvation, or a swarm-influenced trap?
Oracle.
I snapped.
Can you execute the gambit without a human operator?
The probability of success decreases by 27%, the AI replied instantly. The risk of uncontrolled spatial distortion increases to 62%.
My core architecture my note so vive the feedback.
A choice.
Sacrifice Aris mind on a 89% certainty?
Sacrifice Oracle and potentially the Odyssey on a high probability? Or do nothing, let the subprobes hit Aegis, let the Pathfinder reach Mars, and hope Earth's conventional defenses could somehow prevail against an enemy that consumed galactic empires? The Odyssey shuddered as the first impacts rocked Aegis Station.
Distant explosions echoed trug the hull.
Valerius was shouting orders into his comms. Lee frantically relayed damage reports.
Eva, decide.
Aris pleaded. I closed my eyes for a fraction of a second.
The faces of the Odyssey crew, just 3 humans and an AI against the dark. The weight of the Lumin's warning.
The blue marble of Earth hanging vulnerably in space. Oracle, I said, my voice ringing with command authority I didn't feel. Prepare to execute the Ethelberg Gambit. Target, Anomaly Omega primary signature. Use your own core as the cognitive interface.
Route mein Power trug the FTL Drive Core. Aris, Dr. Vance, Dr. Lee, secure yourselves. Valerius, evacuate your personnel if you can. Commander.
Aris protested. That's an order.
I yelled over the rising chaos. Oracle.
Execute. Acknowledged, Commander, Oracle said. Its voice changed then. Lost its synthesized calm, becoming deeper, resonant, filled with complex harmonies that seemed to vibrate in my bones. The lights on the bridge flickered wildly. The hum of the Odyssey's engines changed pitch, rising to an impossible scream that existed beyond sound. Initiating Ethelberg Gambit. Consciousness. Integrating.
Resonance cascade forming.
The main view screen, still locked on Anomaly Omega's distant signature, dissolved into a blinding fractal pattern of light and energy. I felt a pressure building, not just in my ears, but in my mind, as if reality itself was stretching thin. Aris collapsed into his chair, clutching his head, but watching the screen with awe. Vance and Lee braced themselves against the consoles. Energy output exceeding theoretical limits. Vance shouted. Oracle's core temperature critical. Eva, the ship won't hold. Cascade peak imminent, Oracle's voice boomed, no longer sounding like itself, but like a chorus of echoes from across time. Target. Locked. There was a flash of absolute white that seemed to consume everything. A feeling of immense tearing, of space-time itself groaning under impossible strain.
10. Silence. The emergency lights flickered back on, casting long shadows.
The Odyssey was still intact, though alarms blared from every console. The FTL core whine was gone, replaced by a deep, worrying silence. On the view screen, the fractal chaos resolved back into the starfield. Anomaly Omega was gone. Where its energy signature had been, there was nothing.
Just empty space.
Did it work? Lee breathed, pushing herself upright. Subprobe signals vanished, Valerius reported, his voice hoarse with disbelief. Impacts on Aegis ceased. Aris stared at the screen, tears streaming down his face. It worked. But the bridge felt empty.
Oracles mein Interface was dark.
The والمحوسة بالمركزية core access panel showed critical warnings.
Oracle.
I called out, my voice trembling slightly. Report status.
Silence. Oracle.
Only the blare of damage alarms answered. Dr. Vance slowly approached the AI interface, her face grim.
Sharan a diagnostic.
No response from the primary consciousness matrix. Core energy levels, negligible. Neural network, collapsed.
It's gone, Commander.
Whatever the gambit did, it burned out Oracle completely. Or, transformed it into something that no longer registers as AI. We had stopped the Pathfinder. We had saved Mars, saved Aegis Station. But the cost was Oracle. Our companion, our guide, sacrificed.
Epilog, Soldat 2243-03-01. Location, Aegis Station, Medical Bay.
The quarantine continues, but its nature has changed. We are no longer just potential contaminants. We are veterans of the first battle, holders of the only known weapon, however dangerous, against the swarm. Aris is recovering. The Gambit's psychic backlash was blunted by Oracle taking the brunt, but the experience, coupled with his deep dive into the archive, has profoundly changed him. He is quieter, his eyes holding an ancient depth, his understanding of the Lumin data now intuitive, almost instinctual. He works tirelessly with Project Luminlight, trying to refine the Gambit, to understand the swarm, haunted by Oracle's sacrifice. Dr. Lee now leads the scientific effort, her skepticism replaced by fierce determination. Dr. Vance studies the remnants of Oracle's core, searching for clues about its final moments, about the nature of the consciousness required by Lumin technology.
Humanity Knows.
The Aegis incident, the disappearance of Anomaly Omega, the secret couldn't be contained. Panic, fear, but also a strange, unifying resolve, grips Earth. We are no longer alone, and our neighbor is a nightmare. Fleets are built, defenses hardened, research accelerated. The Lumin archive, dangerous and potentially corrupted as it is, remains our only real hope.
I stand by the Fiefport, looking at Earth.
It looks the same, blue, white, beautiful. But it isn't the same. We aren't the same. We brought back knowledge that saved us for now, but unleashed an age of fear. The swarm is out there. Its full might hasn't stirred yet.
The silent corruption remains an insidious, unknown threat.
Did Oracle truly neutralize the Pathfinder, or merely disconnect it from the main swarm? Was the Gambit a weapon, or just another move in a longer, darker game? The Odyssey floats silent in its bay, scarred, her heart torn out. A monument to our discovery and our loss. We survived first contact. We survived the first battle. But the war for humanity's future, against the void consuming and the echoes in the dark, has only just begun.
And the silence left by Oracle feels heavier than any warning.